Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to part 2 of my Let's Play Aidyn Chronicles, the first Mage. Now, before I continue on where we left off in the first part, I'm going to do, call it a disclaimer. Now, I don't know if anyone else really noticed it, but at some point during the recording of the first video, as I was playing it back, I noticed that the audio and video sort of disjuncted. There was a delay in the audio, and the perfectionist that I am, I want to try to avoid that for future videos. Instead of redoing it, I'm going to keep it. It's no big deal. But for the next ones, what I'm doing is I'm using fraps just for the game and game audio and a different program for the voice and I'm going to merge them together. I'll see how it all works out, upload it anyway. You can tell me how it sounds, and go from there. So, without further ado, let's continue this. Hold on a second. While I don't screw up the fraps recording, make sure it's doing the proper thing. And here we go. A cutscene. Well, actually not really, because I do have to actually interact. Move it along. This is where the story tends to develop for the characters in these little dream states that will happen more than once. Is you'll see things, you'll learn things about yourself and what's going on. There's the goblin that poisoned us, and there's a weird looking for, actually, it's a two-legged creature. It's a chaos creature. We'll learn about those later on, and you'll see a lot of them. They keep calling me lost. Perfectly harmless, huh? One wants to kill me, and the other one apparently just wants me to die. Harmless. Show they like me. Uh-huh. These dream scenes are always very amusing. Though some of them are actually kind of freaky. You'll see later when we get to that point. I'm actually reading these briefly because I'm trying to recall what exactly is said. It has been a while, and these are some of the better scenes when you're in these dreams. People are unimportant. That's the message they're trying to teach me. Think of myself. Those guys really have a limited vocabulary. Or they're really trying to show their intentions. Oh my god. Would you look at this thing? I'd literally say thing because I wouldn't dare saying he or she. I think this is like Queen Chaos or something like that. Stay with us forever. I'd rather not. So long. Until next time. Okay, so here we go. Let's speak to her. Try and figure out what the hell's going on. Ooh, sparkly sound. Apparently that means I gain experience. I guess not a sparkly sound, but you know, jingle, whatever you want to call it, that sound, if you hear it, you gain some experience. Only your main character. Apparently. So, do I want to know what happened? Do I want to just say I feel so strange and just say Kendall's dead, isn't he? One of these things will lead to the continuation. of the story. I'm just gonna go with Feel So Strange because I know I've been poisoned. Aha, poison. No, they were using poison daggers. Yeah, unlikely. Pet light spell. Ooh, that's right. Yeah, that's gonna allow me to get back to the castle faster, which is excellent. Because I want to try, now that I think about it, I better keep an eye on this. I want to try and keep these videos down to about 20 minutes at most. This Fraps sort of cuts off at 30 for whatever reason, and then starts another one. So, like the first video, I had to basically merge the first part of it, I guess, and the second part, which is a lot shorter. So this way, if I keep under 30, it's a little simpler, less work to be done on the video in terms of the editing afterwards. I'm just gonna go ahead and say thank you. I think you're right. I know there's other dialogue stuff that I can learn from her, but you can pick those choices if you want. I've done them all before. I just want to get to the castle. Ah, she will teach me in the way of stuff. Now here's where I have to take into consideration what I want to be doing. In this game, there are only, as far as I know anyway, so many skills and spells and whatnot, basically so many things that you can put experience into. I don't know if there's a limit to the level growth. I've never really gotten higher than, I think, level 25 or something. I never actually beat the game the first time I played. In the second playthrough I have it not even close to that, so I don't know really if there's a limit to what you can learn or not, but as from my experience with the first time I played, it's a good idea to sort of have an idea or to get an idea early on of what you want to specialize in, if that's what you like doing, specializing. If you like everyone to be jack of all trades, it's your thing, that's fine too, but a good thing to do in this game is to try and specialize in certain areas, because you will have a party of 4 people in the end, very quickly. And what you can do is have each of them specialize in a specific area so that you cover various areas, because there are multiple schools of magic, and then there's different types of weapons. There's healing. There's being the damage absorbing. There's all those good stuff that you find in many RPGs. So in the past 2 playthroughs, I've always gone magic with some healing, some alchemy, and using bows as a way of doing alternate damage when I'm not casting spells to keep him out of harm's way, because if he dies, it's game over, go back to where you previously loaded, whereas other characters, if they die, they're dead, but the game continues. So I made it so that he could stay out of harm's way, because he does start out very fragile early in the game. And you do get a character who's fairly beefy who can take the damage, so you let him go at the front. I would stay at the back and shoot with the bow and use magic as I learned them. But in this game, I think I'm going to go differently. I think I'm going to do something a little different, not use the same basic 3 party members you start the game with and just finish with those 3, though they are my favorite. I'm going to go on a different path, use different characters, and in terms of being mainly a ranged with the bow magic caster, I've got another one in mind. So this time around, I think I'm going to go more with swords and a shield, or some form of weapon and a shield, and go more melee while using spells as well, but mostly the buff ones, and not the damage ones. So from her, I can't even increase that. I can't increase that. I can increase throne, but I'm not gonna. You know what? Actually, I think I'd rather. Oh, air shield. When do I get air shield? Let me just quickly check my list here, because if I don't remember when you get it, but if you can't get it until a while later, I'm gonna want it because it is very good. I get it in Hermon. Okay, so then no big deal. I don't need it now. Sorry about that. I needed to check my guide on something. So I am going to take the healer skill just because it is a very useful thing to have, and I kind of regret only have 2 of my 4 members to have heal in my current playthrough that I'm going through. That's, you know, the one that's further. So, alright, now that I've wasted 10 minutes, let's hurry on over to the castle. I don't think there's anything hidden in her little room here. So the heal skill in this game, all it really is you're allowed to use lay on hands, which is basically up in front of somebody and you touch them and heal them for not that great of an amount. There's also healing with herbs, where again you have to be next to them, but you can also use that on yourself, whereas lay on hands you can't. And that's really it in terms of healing. There aren't spells like in some other games where you cast like a healing spell from like range, right, where it's really far away. No, in this game you have potions, you have healing yourself with herbs, healing others with herbs if they can't heal themselves with the herbs, and healing others with lay on hands. Now, from my experience, lay on hands is really weak. It's really only meant as something to do in the early game, or if you have no potions and no herbs left. But later in the game, you tend to be able to easily collect herbs and potions, less so, but you can buy them. They're not that expensive. And most skills don't really require herbs, so you save your herbs for your healing, and allows you to be able to heal others with a really cheap manner, while still being fairly effective. Good day, good day. Yes, I want to get back to the castle. Heard of a woman named called blah blah blah. Something I need to ask you. Let's see what this one does. Stone, it was enormous. Ah, the portals. Blah blah. It's basically just giving me information on how the portals work. I somewhat know already, and it's not really that confusing. Unless it's Sorcerer 2. Yeah, not really. That's not really how it works. Ah, so there it is. It says that if you portals match, one has laid a feeling hand upon them both, then you can use them, blah blah blah. Like I had said in the first video. Sorry about that. Apparently I have a fly in my room. Dealt with. Okay, so not even gonna bother editing it out. It's no big deal. Follow these little stars that Rihanna has kindly laid in front of me to give me the path towards my home. I'm sure there are other treasures in here that I have yet to find, but no big deal. I will have a chance to come back, and, well, they're really not that worth it. I've actually got a list of all the worthwhile treasures to get. I'll make sure not to miss those. But otherwise, actually, I recognize this. Somewhere very close to here, there is a chest that I require to unlock. Where the hell does that come from? So yeah, I will be coming back to get that later on. I think it contains an item which improves thief skill. If I remember correctly, that's what is in the chest that's on that little rock formation there. I can probably go up and just confirm it before continuing on. You won't really have the thief skill early in this game anyway, but you'll get a character that'll have it, which is really, or not. Okay, no. Could have sworn this looks familiar anyway, but maybe it's just supposed to look familiar and that's all. There is a rat though. Let's go kill it. Shouldn't take long, especially if there's only one. Oh, well, there's actually 3. Joy. I'll do this as swiftly as I can. Pressing the, I guess it's the A button, or whatever I assigned as A on my keyboard, allows you to skip movement actions of enemies. So it goes from beginning to completion instantly. That's how you're seeing me make them jump to wherever. You can't skip spell casting or attacks, but you can skip the movement. Which is nice because they tend to move slowly. Some things move slowly. These guys certainly do. They get a lot more actions than me, apparently. How many actions in a round is determined by your dexterity, which obviously I don't have very much of it at the moment. Yeah, in a particular round, you can have more than one turns, and how quickly your turns come around, as well as how many you get, is determined by the dexterity. And there are other things that it does. The stats are all described if you use I think it's the up on a C stick, or whatever button you assign for that. It tells you what they do, or you can look on the internet as well. The few guides that exist will tell you what one of them anyway, will tell you what each stat does, and more in depth than what the game does. Alright, rats taken care of. Ooh, I'm glad I did that then. There is a healing potion. Healing potions are valuable in the early game because you don't have many of them, you don't have many herbs, and your lay on hand skill sucks. Somehow I have a feeling there's a chest around here somewhere. But yeah, I'm gonna go for it. I mean, clearly there's something, otherwise it wouldn't be this here. In most cases, if there's what looks to be an alternate path leading somewhere, usually there's a purpose or something you can obtain by going down that path. There's very few areas which you can walk to which have no purpose whatsoever in this game. Most of the time you'll either find a monster or some form of treasure chest or something to acquire. Ah, yes, the ladder. This is around here. This is where I can find this chest that I mentioned that was locked and contained a rope. Oh, and this burnt town. There's treasures in here. But I'm not going to do that right now because I have a feeling there's also things to fight that I might not be prepared for. And probably can't climb that yet. I'm just going to proceed on to the castle. It has been a good about at least 15 minutes by now. Yep. There's quite a bit of tasks to accomplish once I get to the castle. You will see when I get there. Not much fighting, but there will be dialogues and much walking around. There are stuff in the castle, treasures to acquire. Oh, here's another dialogue. They're basically discussing whether or not the lady in the woods helped me out. Now he's telling me to hurry up back to the castle. I think when I reach the castle walls, I will save the game and end the recording for now at that point, because there is a lot left to do. The early portion of the game before you get into some serious fighting is quite long. Not long to the point where it's overbearing, but nonetheless. 3 more rats to fight. Let's hope I can kill them a little faster this time. If I can't maybe go around and try and catch them, one of them anyway, in the rear, and hope I'm not wrong about the whole increases your damage thing. They're gonna catch me. At least they're not hitting. That's a good sign. They clearly have much more dexterity than I do. Come on, give me a chance to attack. There we go. Okay, well, it's going to require at least 3 more hits to take these guys out. And in the meantime, they're getting at least 2 hits each on me. Oh, of course I miss a hit. This is the sort of fight that later on, once I've got my party and everything, I will figure out a way to sort of plan ahead, I guess, in terms of the recording of fights, where I might not be in the middle of some sort of comment and then a fight starts, and then if I cut out the fight entirely, that cuts out the comment, you know, that sort of thing. But I'll figure it out, and boring fights like this I'll just utterly cut out from the recording. Save me time and bandwidth, which bandwidth is always precious. No chest. Okay. I think I saw an herb. No, not. The path to the castle is before me. And yet there's somewhere, and I want to go check it out. I'm gonna do it. Unless I see something inside, which in that case I'll turn around. There is a way to get by monsters in the game. There's something that's called a stealth skill. Oh shit, wolves. Don't want to be fighting those just yet. Yeah, there's a skill you can acquire. I think he's already got it to a couple levels where it's a stealth skill, where it allows you to try and sneak by enemies, so they don't detect you and you don't have to fight them. And it works quite well if you get a high enough level, or if you have an item, which in the case for me, in my most recent game, where I have this item which increases my stealth skill on whatever character that equips it by 10. So I don't really need to train the stealth skill, I just keep that item on, at least for now. And it allows me to sneak by even some monsters that would otherwise completely destroy me with very little difficulty. Rat. I'm gonna sneak by it, just to show you what it's like. Assuming I can man it. Nope. Apparently I either don't have the skill or it's not high enough. Most of the time I don't bother doing it. I only really sneak by if I think I can't handle the fight. Even the weakest of opponents still give experience, still give gold, still give a chance at items, and that is always good in the long run. Of course, that is in my normal playthrough. In this, I might skip certain fights if I find it's just going to be time consuming for the, for the recording. There are very few, but still, there are areas where you can return to and fight enemies that give a large amount of experience and allow you to level up more quickly than you normally would otherwise. And although those groups of monsters tend to be fairly challenging, it's rewarding because you can then level up rapidly, especially early in the game. There is such a spot that I will get to later on in Tailwalk. There are these wolves, which they're a fairly large pack, and they give a large amount of experience. And you can fight them, then return into a building in the town, because they're right next to the town, and come back out and fight them again, and do that over and over and over for as much as you want. And as much as that maybe you would think it would dull down the game, make it too easy because you're leveling way too fast for the learning curve, not so much the case, because monsters tend to get tougher. Certain monsters anyway will be tougher particularly the storyline ones. If you out-level them, their difficulty will increase a little bit. At least that's what I've read. So it's not really that much an issue, and I don't abuse it to the point. I'll use it just to get maybe a slight edge, or I'll use it to gain not so much the levels, because levels really don't matter that much. It's the experience you get to invest it into your stats, or in the case when I get there, is to increase the skills, the spells that I acquired when upon really arriving to that town and the town before that, where there's a bunch of spells you can buy that you otherwise would not have had access to earlier on, and you get to increase them, and increase your skills too if you desire to, if you need to, or your stats. Yeah, and like I said, there's a few areas like that. That's one particular spot which I've used. There are others. There's actually one in this castle here, which I never used before. Probably won't use it, but there is one. Doesn't give it as much experience, but at the early game, it's not bad. So here we are. This is the castle, or at least the entrance to the castle is the town, surrounding it. So I'm going to save my game here. And that'll be all for today's episode. So tune in next time. We will pick up right where I left off, and we will go inside the castle and meet the king and continue with the story. So until then.